Did they just cut off? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Octane Adventures. If you're a visitor, welcome to the channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. So, I've been cranking out a lot of videos lately, and that's mostly because the weather's kind of been crappy around here, and, well, yeah, I haven't really had time to get out for a real ride, so it's mostly just been local anyways. But the other day the weather was actually pretty nice. It was plus 15 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm this time in southern Ontario. So I finally got the Outlander out. The belt's all broken in. We've got over 50 kilometers on the machine now. I would have put that mileage on it sooner, but we kind of had this thing in pieces for a few days, and we'll get into why that happened. Well, I was kind of hoping to get out riding, actually trailering this somewhere where I could really open it up and get some more kilometers on it. But instead of taking it out and getting it dirty, it is fairly clean right now, and that's a good thing because today we got a package. Let me just grab it for a second. Far mudding. I wonder what these are. So Monday I was actually going to get out for a ride, but a package arrived from Far Mudding. These are their 2.0 Chasing Halos, and this was something I bought with my own money, so I can give you my honest opinion on it. I'm not going to say these Halos were more of a hassle than what they're worth, because they're pretty cool. These things are all Bluetooth controlled through your phone. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can make them do rotate one way, the others can rotate another way. You can control how many LEDs are one specific color. The app is a little bit confusing though, so that's kind of one thing I'm gonna knock. But I will say there are other modifications that the Outlander could have used before the Halos that in the future, if I ever were to do this again, I would probably do those first. But if you don't mind dremeling into your brand new machine, and yes, I said Dremel, go for it. So, I'll tell you a little bit of, well, I'll show you what the kit came with right now. What have we got in here? So that's what the kit comes with. These Halos have a 3M tape on the back of them for you to stick them down. You're going to run into issues because the wires are going to get pinched when you go to put the headlight back in. So what you're going to want to do is, on the low beams, the whole headlight comes out, but this black piece stays in the machine. You're going to want to Dremel a little into it so that the wires go up nicely over top of the headlight and they don't get pinched. Then, the 3M tape doesn't hold the best, so they give you a clear tube of RTV silicone. So you're going to want to use the silicone, but when you stick this on, it sits a bit on the light itself and it sits a bit on here, so you're going to want to readjust your headlight before it fully cures. As for the high beams, the whole high beam and the housing piece, they all come out, so you're going to want to Dremel the headlight housing just enough so that the wire tucks up nicely over top of it. That way it sits flush against the light. It actually sits on the housing, not the actual glass piece itself. And a pro tip, these little springs here, This is how you get your headlight out. You can twist this off or put a flat blade screwdriver in there. Do not lose those springs because they're a pain in the ass to find. And when you're doing this job, get yourself a clip puller. It's going to save a lot of time, aggravation, and pain, because nothing feels more amazing than embedding a screwdriver into your hand. These machines are held together with a lot of these little locking pins, so using a clip puller makes things a lot easier, because you've basically got to remove all this crap in here, so that way you can run all your wires and stuff and tuck it up out of the way. And I also recommend removing the side panels. So if you want to get this off, however, you got to take your seat off, you got to take this off, and you got to take the gauge cluster off. And then there are a few other tabs. There's another tab back in here. There's a tab up in here. There's a screw up in here. And once you get that off, then you can run all your wires and stuff. When people are doing this install, a lot of people, they will just tap into the 12 volt on the other side. So you remove the side plastic, and then the 12 volt actually screws out, and you can tap into the wires here. Another thing that Can-Am does, and I've seen people do it on the Renegades, and I believe I saw the same wires on this machine. Can-Am leaves 2 wires that can be used for auxiliaries, and they just like heat shrink them and then ball them up. I didn't want to mess around with that in there, so I ended up running my own wires to a switch. Now, I did that because I wanted to be able to turn them on even when the machine has no power, and I'm not worried about forgetting them on because this switch right here has a light that comes on, so I know when the halos are actually on. So when you order this kit, Fire Mudding will actually send you a switch. This is the switch that they send you. It works fine, but we wanted to go an extra step and make it look a little more factory, so we bought a pack of marine grade rocker switches off of Amazon. We did run into a problem though. I should have put this switch on this side, because Can-Am uses these 90-degree angle butt connectors on the trip switch. We didn't have those, so when we went to put this piece back on, the butt connectors were actually pushing against the Airbox housing. So what we ended up doing is we actually bent the butt connectors temporarily until we can find some of these 90-degree angle ones, and then we'll touch this up. But even then, I still had issues with this trying to like push back, and there was a gap here, so we actually used some zip ties on the piece that you pry up on to get this off to hold it down, and then the seat was still able to fit in and just kind of reforms the plastic or whatever. But I mean, the machine has zip ties all over the place holding the wiring harness, so why not add a couple more? Doesn't bother me, but yeah, so that's how we did it. Yeah, and I'll show you guys where I actually put the control box. If you can actually even see it, you might not be able to, but we actually mounted the control box right up against the back of the frame, and I believe that's where like the rad would have actually sat if it was not relocated. But we got that thing zip tied all to, yeah, she's not going nowhere. Also, there's a bit of good news. Well, I'm gonna have to test it out again today, but I tested it out last night. We finally found out what's wrong with this son of a bitch. We thought it was, at first, the carburetor. It wasn't. We thought it was the coil. It wasn't. Which left either the stator or the CDI box. And last night, Brian brought me the CDI box off of his Big Red, and we slapped it on here, and this thing freaking rips now. So I'm going to take it out for a spin again later today to see if it was just like a one-off thing, or if we actually solved the problem, because if that's the case, then I need to find myself a CDI box, and we'll be good to go. Also, good news, The mission down to Michigan State was a success. We got the GoPro Enduro Series batteries because GoPro did not ship those batteries to me. Apparently, they can't ship standalone batteries to Canada, but they can ship me a device with a battery. I don't know if that's because batteries are a dangerous good in Canada and they're not in America. But whatever. Anyways, I got them. But there's also a cleaning product in America that they don't ship to Canada as well. Some of you guys are familiar with the SC1 product. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a silicone-based spray that you spray on your plastics, and then you buff it off for this hydrophobic shine. It makes cleanup a lot easier. And then if you're like me, you can just spray some of this on the inner fenders and don't wipe it off, and that'll create like a layer that all the crap's going to stick to, and then when you hit it with the pressure washer, it comes off fairly easy. One disclaimer about it though, don't spray it on your plastics and then take it for a rip in dusty conditions, because it will make them look like hell if you don't shine it off with a microfiber cloth. So anyways, in America, there is a product there called Shine Coating, and it's made by a company called Advanced Coatings. Coatings spelt with a K. This stuff. These guys would not ship to Canada, so I took matters into my own hands and had it sent to my friend's house in Michigan. And I just had to wait for the right opportunity to go down and bring it back. So apparently this stuff restores a high gloss shine to dull surfaces. It will help keep mud from sticking, makes cleanup quick and easy, leaves a wire resistant shine, and great for hard to reach areas. So I'm wondering if this stuff is basically telling me like, hey, just spray it all over the machine because it will make everything easier to clean. So anyways, what we're actually going to do is we're going to test this stuff out and see if this stuff is really the bee's knees compared to the SC1. So we got the Outlander all cleaned up after last night's little preemptive rip, and we're going to spray the hell of it with a can of AK and see if it's really as good as all these Southerners claim it is. And if it is, well, I'll probably be buying a lot more of it in bulk. It would be nice, though, if they would ship to Canada. Because, yeah. Well, we'll see if it's even worth it first. So, yeah, I guess that's going to pretty much conclude the update, except I want to address one more thing. I'm getting a lot of comments from people in the videos now, and it's a really great experience. I'm very happy with it. All you guys who are saying keep up the great work, that means a lot for me. That fuels my fire to keep cranking these videos out. They might slow down eventually because this is my off season, so I will be work will be picking up very soon. So the videos may not be as frequent, but I'll try to keep a bit of a backlog so that way I can still like post at least maybe twice a month or maybe once a week, but we'll see. And even though, and then people asking me questions about this machine, some people have actually gone out and bought an Outlander 850 XMR because of my videos. People are asking me questions about the machine. If people have questions, I will answer them to the best of my abilities. I've had people ask me what kind of cameras I film with. I've had people asking questions about the exhaust, the fuel optimizer. Are these machines really worth it? And honestly, I will say it again, the 850 XMR is the best bang for the buck if you want a high-performance, mud-ready machine. If you don't need the 78 horsepower though, I would recommend the 570 XMR. And the reason I say that is because, at least in Canada, the 570 XMR for the 2022 year is a detuned 650 engine. So, if you really wanted to, you could probably get an ECM flash and unlock that 62 horsepower over, what the heck is it? I think it might be like 50 something, 48 or 50 horsepower. I could be wrong, but anyways, yeah. And then you still get your differential lock and your power steering, so you can't really go wrong with that. But yeah, anyways, Thank you all for liking the videos, thank you all for subscribing, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for the comments. It means a lot, and we're going to get out on the trails. I'm in contact with a few people, so we're actually going to get this thing out in the wide open, and we're going to use this thing for what it was really meant to do. Not really interested in sticking it in the clay hole just yet and breaking things, but maybe like some regular mud and some water and stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely be putting it in that. Speaking of which, I have to run to the dealership, pick up some products, and another modification. Oh, we're back from the dealer. We had to grab a couple little things. I'm pretty sure I didn't need to buy this, but I did. I was on the forums, and apparently this XPS grease that BRP sells actually does a pretty good job at staying in things and not washing out when you're going through water, so we got that. But more importantly, we got another must-have mod. And with mud season coming up, we're gonna need this. So this is one of the two options I was telling you about. This is the RJWC billet aluminum airbox cover. If I had things better sorted out with my channel, like a cool logo or something, I probably would have ordered an airbox cover from Custom Motoquad and had them do a custom etching. But this is the way I went for now, so who knows? We can always pick one up from Custom Motoquad in the future. So anyways, this will save us some headaches. Really? No stickers? This thing's got a bit of weight to it, but look at this, look at this, look at this. Yes. Nice rubber seal, not chintzy piece of foam. That will definitely keep the water out. Well, it better keep the water out. You can see that there is a socket. Or like, yeah, a piece here that will accept a socket. Wow, this is real professional. Anyways, you are actually going to need a socket to put this son of a bitch on, because you ain't gonna crank this thing on there by hand. Now, what size of socket is this? 11/16. You're gonna need an 11/16 socket to crank this son of a bitch on, and I recommend spraying some soapy water on it just to help it a little bit better. Otherwise, you are going to have one hell of a frickin' time. So, off with this old thing. We can throw it in the bin. Now, I might actually... I don't know why I'm going to keep this, but who knows? Who knows, I might need it. So, we're not going to throw it in the bin. And that's that. Hopefully, she's now watertight. Otherwise, that's really going to suck. I'm going to add one more thing. So the Outlander does have its little quirks. The 22s, they do something a little different. They beep at you. So if you actually put this thing into differential lock, it's going to beep at you once. When you take it out of differential lock, it will beep at you twice. When you put it into sport mode, it will beep at you. It will not beep at you when you take it out of sport mode. Also, if you get this thing kind of like on an angle that it does not like, it'll also make a bunch of beeping noises at you because you're starving the top end of oil and it's not meant to run on its side or upside down. And then another little quirk about the Outlander, unlike the Renegade, it does have storage. It is not waterproof storage. So don't put your paperwork or anything important in the trunk of it, because it will get wet. There are companies, though, that will sell a waterproof gasket that you can put on it, and then it will become watertight, but still kind of use it as your discretion. Also, I will say something. If you are just basically running this thing stock, you don't want to do an exhaust or whatever, this little pocket in here, it will get rather hot in here, and you may melt some of, like, you may melt that plastic toolkit thing that they give you. So yeah, just so you know, it does get a bit warm in here. The other thing is, if you, depending on the exhaust that you get, if your tip kind of sticks out a little bit, like my Crossflow does, the trunk will kind of scrub against it. But whatever, that's not a big issue. The big issue is going to be when you're closing it. So when you buy one of these from the dealer, your salesperson should tell you the secret to this is when you close it, it'll click once. That's not closed. That is not closed. You're going to hit a bump and you're going to lose everything you got in there. And then this is going to fall down and your exhaust is going to melt the living shit out of it. So this thing actually takes 2 clicks. You push it up once, there's the first click, then you gotta push it again, there's the second click. 2 clicks and it's closed. Other than that, I don't really think that there's that many things that are kind of out of the ordinary. Like, you can customize your gauge cluster because you get this premium gauge. I'm still a fan of the ones back in 2019 where they were the analog digital mix, but this gauge did grow on me, and you can do all kinds of things. Like, you've got your trip, so you can, oh hey, 60 kilometers, look at that. You can go through your trips, your odometer, your engine hours, and then if you hit the menu button, like, you can change all this down here from, like, you can have your RPM down here, your battery volts or whatever and whatnot. You can take your speedometer from here, put it over here, so then this way your RPMs are up here. It's pretty cool. And sometimes when you're in the shop and you're doing stuff, sometimes it's nice to just relax, have a drink, and watch some other Canadian YouTubers. Cheers.